Welcome back, YouTubers. Welcome back to Art Books Reviewed. We're going to look at this book now. It is the Sinclair ZX Spectrum, a visual compendium. It's a little hardcover book, the third in the series. It's published by Bitmap Books. It's a nice little book. Well, it looks like a nice book. It's still sealed. So I'm going to unseal it and let's have a look inside. So, I don't know, just talk amongst yourselves or something whilst I... Or just sit there, quietly fascinated. We're in. Okay, we're into the book. There's the spine. Nice white text on sort of a black background. It has a dust jacket. The cover's the same on the inside. But what's really cool is you get a little bit of code there, a little Sinclair Spectrum code, including next, poke, rems, CLS, clear screen, all kinds of let, some really nice little commands. So look what's on the back. Just so the code continues. I wonder what that does. I guess I could look at that in a minute and see if I can work it out. It's got the Bitmap Books website and logo on the back. Here's that code in more detail. I'm not quite familiar enough with coding to know exactly what that does. It obviously does something, draws something, I think. Guess if I had Spectrum, you could just type it in and try it, like you used to in the good old days. And at the back of the book here, look, it has a brief history of the ZX Spectrum. So in 1982, the first one, the ZX Spectrum 16K and 48K, released for 125 and 175 respectively. It's quite expensive, isn't it, back in 1982? Other things happened. Oh, look at this sad. Production of the ZX Spectrum ceases with excess of 5 million units sold in 1992. So up until that date, they were still making Spectrums. Amazing, really. Anyway, let's have a look at the good stuff. Lots of little thumbnails of various... I wonder how many I recognise. Gauntlet. Horace from the Horace games. Is that Lunar Jetman or Jetpack? Is that Manic Miner? I think that might be Ant Attack. Anyway, yeah. So it's quite a small book, as you can see. I think it might be A5 size. I think so. Yeah. Wow, that is seriously pink. Seriously pink. It's all very 80s. So here's a load of contributors. Look, I don't know. Here's a load of names, people who contributed to the book in some form. You may recognise a few of these from the Spectrum era. OMG, that's very green too. I don't know how well this is coming across on the screen, but in real life that is some serious neon green. Wow, look at all these games. There's millions of them. Robin of the Wood, I remember that. Iridium, loads of really good games. So we've got a list of games, then we've got a bit about magazines. Yeah, I remember Crash, Your Sinclair, Sinclair User. Some memories, various other bits and bobs. Look here, some photography, artist interviews, company profiles. Yeah, okay. Forward by Steve Pickford. I don't like pixel art he starts with. Oh, that's an omission, isn't it? Yeah, and I won't read it all out. Just showing you the visuals, really. There's a deconstructed Spectrum. The iconic rubber keys on that second layer, puncturing the holes. Right then, we had no thoughts about the impact the Spectrum was to have on the industry and people's lives. It turned out to be an extraordinary experience by Rick Dickinson. Indeed. So nicely printed this, high contrast, really bright colours. The blacks, very black, very glossy. It's nice. They've done a good job on this. Look at that, The Hobbit. I remember The Hobbit. One of the first games I played. Didn't get very far with it. Didn't actually have the patience for it, even though I'm a big Tolkien fan. Football Manager. It's not doesn't resemble FIFA, does it much, that one? Sinclair User magazine. Look at that. Horace Goes Skiing. Yeah, this is another early game I played in 1982 by Scion Software. It was hard. You had to cross the road first. That was difficult. Once you did that, you got to the skiing bit, which is the enjoyable bit. Penetrator. This was an excellent game. It's like a side-scrolling shoot-'em-up. But what I remember most sort of fondly about this game was there there was a complete sort of like level creator built into it. So you could just make your own levels, make them really, really difficult or really easy. And that was so much fun. So you could shoot sort of horizontally, but you could also drop bombs vertically. So you had to time your bomb dropping so they actually hit the things, the targets. Great game there. How do you attack? Yes, I remember this. This was quite hard. Ultimate Play the Game. So this was actually a developer and publisher, made a series of games. They were based in Ashby-de-la-Zouch. There's a plane going overhead. You may be able to hear that. And also a train hooting in the distance. Got planes, trains, all we need now is automobiles. So here's some of the games that Ultimate made. I remember playing these. Jetpack was one of my favourites. Defined the look of all of their games. Ant Attack, perhaps the best Spectrum game in my opinion. These ruins, you have to save survivors from these lethal ants. It's very sort of post-apocalyptic. It's possibly the first post-apocalyptic game I kind of played. Okay, here we go. Here is Jetpack. You have to sort of hover and shoot and whatnot. Look, you can see some of this colour clashing that the Spectrum is notorious for here happening. They've done a good job to actually extract some of the graphics, which can't have been easy, to extract them from sort of the Spectrum games and put them into a printed, published book like this. Manic Miner, yeah, with that very iconic theme tune. That was a hard game, wasn't it? Didn't get too far in that either. Don't know what this is. Not in 3D, didn't play that. Okay, I'm going to skip on a bit. So you can just marvel at the wonderful pixel art that I do like. Attic Attack. Oh, actually, I have to butt in here. The screech that accompanied loading a game became a soundtrack to summer evenings, echoing around our home like the shrill chatter of wartime radio static. Hilarious. It was though, wasn't it? You kind of had to, sometimes games didn't load properly. I mean, it wasn't back in the day. You almost kind of held your breath for a couple of minutes whilst it loaded. Quite often it might just crash at the end if it didn't load properly, and it was frustrating. You had to go back and try again and again. Match Day, wow, that was a great football game as well. It's got all the classics so far in here. It's a real trip down memory lane for me. Chucky Egg, everyone talks about Chucky Egg, don't they? Jarama. The art of the ZX Spectrum, with its distinctive rainbow-coloured palette and now legendary attribute clash. Spectrum was capable of producing outstanding visuals when placed in the right hands, yes. I was always a bit disappointed with some of the audio. My friends had Combo 64s. You went round there and it was just so much better. The in-game music stuff just sounded amazing. You went home to your Spectrum and it was all kind of bleepy and a bit rubbish. Still, great games. Great fun. Saboteur, I remember playing that, and Thanatos. Massive Dragon. Too big, really. Robin of the Wood. The Way of the Exploding Fist. So many classics. Right, I'm going to shut up again and just keep going through the book. Barbarian. Wow, that was violent, wasn't it? You could behead people. I like the mix in this book of, so you've got lots of full screen stuff. You've got some of these sort of in-game footage. You've got some where it's kind of like a map of the levels. You've got some of the actual artwork used for promotional materials. So yeah, it's been cleverly put together, very lovingly constructed, I would say, this book. R-Type, that classic arcade conversion, complete with attribute clash. Target Renegade and Renegade, both amazing games. Spent a lot of time playing those. Here's, oh, this was released as part of a Kickstarter campaign, and here's all of the backers. What a long list that is. So yeah, it's a great book. If you had a Spectrum like I did, it's a real trip down memory lane looking through there. Sinclair's ZX Spectrum, a visual compendium. A lovely little hardcover book. And a nice reminder of all those good times that we had playing on those Spectrum games. See you next time!